rebroadcast of the recorded meeting. The recorded meeting will be available for viewing on the town's YouTube channel. Now, everyone that's online or in the room, please mute your telephone. Thank you very much for compliance. Okay, first thing on the agenda is approval of the April 26th regular meeting minutes.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Rich, seconded by Bill Ham to approve the April 26th, 22 regular meeting minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next on the agenda is ordinance 2022-03, rezoning of 415 Lakeshore Drive from commercial to commercial C2 to planned unit development PUD. I'll go ahead and read the ordinance. Whereas the Culver Planning Commission, after legal notice and public hearing thereon, has favorably recommended to the Culver Town Council by a vote of 8 ayes to 0 nays. One member was absent from the meeting. Properly rezoned to planned unit development PUD from the current zoning of commercial C2 to the following parcel. The parcel located on 415 East Shore Lakeshore Drive, parcel's ID number 502-116-303-081-000014. Also parcel 502-116-303-080-2000014. Parcel 5021-163-030-084-00014 and parcel 502-116-303-308-83-00014. Whereas the Culver Town Council, having received and reviewed recommendation and after conducting a meeting on May 10th thereon, believes that said rezoning is in keeping with the comprehensive plan. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Town Council of Town of Culver, Indiana, as follows. Section 1, the parcels indicated in the paragraph below to be rezoned from C2 to PUD. Not going to repeat the parcels again, as they are the same. Section 2, this ordinance shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage and due publication if required to become effective. We do, as it states in this ordinance, we do have a letter from Don Fox, who's the secretary of the Plan Commission. Jenny, would you like to read that at this time, please?
Sure. Stated May 2nd, 2022, memorandum for the members of the Culver Town Council for the Culver Plan Commission. Subject recommendation to approve rezoning of 415 Lakeshore from C2 to planned unit development. At the April meeting of the Culver Plan Commission, Mr. Mike Stallings appeared before the commission on behalf of Marar Custom Homes and Renovations to request rezoning of 415 Lakeshore from C2 to planned unit development. Marar first appeared before the commission at a special meeting in March, at which members of the public and members of the commission expressed reservations about certain aspects of the proposed PUD. Based on that input, Marar withdrew its request for rezoning to make modifications to the proposed unit development. At the April meeting, Mr. Stallings introduced the revised plan, which scaled back the proposed PUD to a single residential building, increased off-street parking, and eliminated a dumpster in favor of individual trash cans at a different location from what was originally proposed, among other modifications. Mr. Stallings also noted that he and his wife lived across from the proposed PUD and wanted to build something that would contribute to the development of Culver and that would enhance the streetscape along Lakeview. The technical review committee had previously approved the revised plan by a vote of 5-0. During the April public hearing, which lasted more than an hour, some members of public expressed opposition to the modified project and other members expressed support. Town manager Jim Monroe read into the record letters of support from more than 20 other residents. After the public hearing closed, members of the commission had the opportunity to ask follow-up questions of Mr. Stallings and his team. The commission felt the Marar team had acted constructively on input from the first public hearing and had designed a development consistent with the need for additional residential property in Culver that respected the rights of property owners in the neighborhood and reflected the architecture of downtown Culver. By a vote of 8-0, one member was absent. The Colbert Council approved a motion to recommend the town council approve rezoning of 415 Lakeshore from C2 to PUD. Don Fox, Colbert Plan Commission Secretary.
Thanks a lot, Jenny. Would the council like to hear additional comments from the public if there are any?
I think we should.
Does anybody from the public care to comment further? And let's limit it to 3 minutes, so state your name and what you want to talk about. And please, if you talk at the plan commission, if you have any new information, that's how we should handle this, because they did a good job that night.
I'm Steve Snyder. I'm an attorney in Syracuse, Indiana, here for a number of people, including Jeff Mansfield, Bob Derodick, Matt Nagel, and Doug and Shan Farman. There is information I would like to hand out, just so you can see what it is we're discussing. But more than that, I have some procedural questions that I think need to be discussed. When you rezone from any district to a planned unit development district, there are state statutes that have to be met. The state statute is reasonably clear. Your ordinance is not reasonably clear, but I just want to review some things. First of all, definitions in the state statute. A planned unit development district means a zoning district for which a PUD district ordinance must be adopted. A PUD district ordinance means a zoning ordinance that does the following: designates a parcel of real estate as a planned unit development district, specifies uses or range of uses permitted in the planned unit development district, specifies development requirements in the planned unit development district, specifies the plan documentation and supporting information that may be required, specifies any limitation applicable to a planned unit development district, and meets the requirements of this statute. I just listened to the ordinance that was proposed for adoption tonight, and it doesn't contain any of the information that's required by the code at IC 3674-1503. So I think the ordinance is defective in that regard. And a planned unit development district is established by the adoption of a PUD district ordinance. The district is the zoning classification. The ordinance is the plan requirements according to the state statute. The legislative body, you, can adopt and amend a PUD district ordinance in the same manner as a zone map change initiated in section 602 of the state of Oregon. What you're doing is rezoning from C2 to a planned unit development district. It's a zone map change. But when you're dealing with planned unit development, that ordinance goes further than just being a zone map change. Under section 1503 of the state statute, it has to do those items 1 through 5 that I just read. In this particular case, I don't believe that's been considered. Jim and I had a phone call today, and the question is the recommendation from the Plan Commission secondary approval or primary approval of the planned unit, the ordinance, which is the plans for this development. I believe it is a secondary approval by the Plan Commission and comes to you for ratification and adoption from the standpoint of the restrictions on use that are placed in the district and a zone map change. And you've heard, and the Plan Commission has heard the objections of my clients to this plan. But what you are undertaking tonight is subject to 2 things. One, the state statute, which limits what you can do and what you must do you would adopt a PUD district ordinance and a PUD district development plan. Those items have to be detailed because the plan commission, when it deals with a PUD plan, is sitting in the same shoes as a board of zoning appeals. It determines the conditions on approval. Those become a part of the district rezoning ordinance because that's how they're enforced. That secondary approval of the plan commission that comes to you is also subject to appeal. And yesterday there was an appeal filed of that plan commission approval in the Marshall Circuit Court. So that is now subject to judicial review, and whatever Judge Palmer might decide on review will have a significant effect one way or the other on whether or not that approval by the plan commission is appropriate or in violation of your own ordinance. There are a couple things, and I'm not going to go over the plans and the objections. They're part of the record in the plan commission hearing, but there are a couple things that really do when it comes to this particular plan. And that is Article 2, Section J of your own PUD zoning ordinance, which says, quote, "The PUD shall not be allowed where this zoning classification is sought primarily to avoid the imposition of standards and requirements of other zoning classifications." Purpose of a PUD ordinance.
Excuse me, Steve, I hate to interrupt you, but you've already gone over 4 minutes.
Okay, fine. I will object to any limitations since I'm here on behalf of 4 people. But that's a due process consideration, and if that's your decision, I'll sit down.
Can we allocate our time to Steve as our representative?
I don't see any reason. Why not?
What was that?
Go ahead. Yes, state your name and you've got 3 minutes.
Steve, this is Doug Farmer. Please use my time as you feel appropriate.
Thank you, Doug. Going back to your own ordinance, what I just read is crucial, I believe, to the determination of any planned unit development. This planned unit developments typically look at a mixed use on a unique piece of property and something that can't otherwise be considered in a C2 zone, an R1 zone, or something like that. But planned unit developments are not intended to simply avoid the setback requirements that you have in your ordinance. And there are a significant number of zoning district requirements or standards in your ordinance. And for instance, a planned unit development district must have a front yard of 50 feet. It must have a rear yard of 15 feet. It must have a side yard of 10 feet and must have be at least 75 feet from the drain. That one's not an issue. From a parking standpoint, it must have 2 spaces per unit. There may be other requirements if it's a mixed use, including commercial. But in this case, it's all residential. In your own ordinance, a planned unit development must be on a tract having 21,780 square feet. It must have a maximum width or minimum width of 300 feet. It must have 100 feet of access on a public road or a private road, and must have 10% open space. There's been a claim in this case that all those requirements can be waived by the plan commission. I would suggest to you that those are development standards which can only be waived by the Board of Zoning Appeals or varied by the Board of Zoning Appeals. And again, going back to state statute citing 3674-918.5, a Board of Zoning Appeals shall approve or deny variances from the development standards such as height, bulk, or area of the zoning ordinance. That wasn't done in this case. There's never been a hearing in front of the Board of Zoning Appeals. So again, I question what's in front of you now. One, from the standpoint that this isn't what was defined as a PUD in your own ordinance. There's no mixed use here. It's all residential. It's done solely for the purpose of cramming as much as possible into a relatively small tract in the middle of a single-family residential district. And it doesn't fit the intent of your ordinance for planned unit development. We don't know whether this is going to be 4 rental units, 4 condominium units, or whether there's going to be later a plat filed for 4 lots with 0 lot lines. We have no idea which way it's going to go, but whatever it is, it doesn't fit the definition of a planned unit development.
Okay, Steve.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the room or online that would like to speak? Okay, well, the purpose tonight is strictly the rezoning of 415 Lakeshore Drive from commercial C2 to a planned unit development. Is there a motion in the council to do that? Motion made by Bill Ham. Is there a second? Seconded by Sally Ricciardi.
We can follow up the current document.
Art? The motion been made and seconded. Call for a roll call vote.
Yeah, I mean, like, why are people suing your parents all the time?
It's a big company. But it's not big, but they think that means they have money.
Yeah, sorry, but we're getting ready to vote. We're gonna call for a roll call vote.
Can you restate that question and answer, please?
Your question, Nick?
Who is this?
Yes.
Why are they here?
Yeah, we don't know who you are. We're in the middle.
I understand that, but I understand that. This is Doug Farmer. All I'm asking for is, I did not hear that question from the crowd, and I did not hear the council's response to it. So I'm just asking for a readout on what was just transpired.
Nobody heard the question. We couldn't make it out, sir. We couldn't-
Okay, this is Doug Farmer. Yeah. So, sorry, all I was asking is I didn't hear that last question from the crowd, and I did not hear the council's response to it. So all I'm asking for is a readout on that short conversation.
Mr. Farmer, I believe that conversation was someone that didn't realize they were unmuted and having a conversation that.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, motion been made and seconded. I'm gonna call for a roll call vote. West?
I have represented the owners of the property in question at 415 Lakeshore Drive in some real estate transactions in my private real estate practice. One of those transactions was earlier this year, and I've had discussions with them about other potential transactions. So to avoid a potential conflict of interest, I will recuse myself from voting on this.
Thank you. Mr. Clevenger?
Mr. Clevenger, I have a question.
I have a question. Since this is a zoning, since this is an ordinance, should this be approved on first read?
Okay.
Yeah, this is pretty much first read.
Okay,
Because you would go through the readings versus just an outright approval.
okay, so this will be approval on the first read.
Ordinance, you're approving an ordinance.
Ordinance 2022-003, which I've already read on first read. Rich is abstaining.
Using, so yes.
Clevenger?
I vote present.
Mr. Shardy? Him?
I vote aye.
And I vote aye. Okay. Is there a motion to suspend the rules?
Can't do it.
Can't.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll do second and third
Next
on
meeting.
the 24th.
Yeah, second reading and second, right.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is tax abatement review. We've got some tax abatements for Sand Hill Farms, the Paddocks, and ACPI, and people involved are still reviewing and getting the paperwork into us. So we're going to pass on it tonight and look at them on the 24th. Next is Readi Grants.
Yeah. I want to go ahead and add this to the agenda for now and in the future. Somewhat like what we did with Stellar, I want to be able to update you outside of the town manager report because it will likely involve matching dollars if we do a project. Right now, our Readi Grant Committee is considering a couple of quality of place projects. We are going to meet with the committee working on the movie theater, perhaps. I'm trying to arrange for that. And we're also looking at whether or not to use the regional city dollars for the hub or shared workspace. I've talked to you guys about some of these projects in the past. I just want to, as we get closer to the deadline for the region, keep this on the agenda for a while. But for now, it's really status quo from what I've told you in the past.
Thank you. Next is town manager's report.
Okay. All right, for the length and the last minute email on this, Karen and I have been a little busy without doing the office. To start off with, just a reminder that we have our unsafe building meeting on May 24th at 5:30. And that, I don't have anything to add. Under utility street department updates, I handed out to you the seller's contract for the downtown streetscaping maintenance contract that we have had. It's for taking care of the bump outs, the watering of the plants. I sent you guys the electronic version of this. And my thought is that we approve it for now. It has gone up about 20% over the last version. That's mainly for materials because of supply chain issues and the fact that materials have gone up. But I think next year we're going to look at bidding out this as well as snow removal. I believe our trash service contract still has 2 years on it. So we're going to take a look at all the regular contracts, and there might also be potential for us to bundle some of these contracts into one. So I'm going to take a look at that as well. It was a suggestion of one of you. But anyway, this particular contract, it's broken out for you as you can see in the copies I sent out. There is a 5% discount if we pay up front. The total contract without that discount is $4,673.03. That's in monthly installments. If we prepay it early, it would be $4,339.38. And this scope of work includes the spring cleanup, mulch installation, refreshing the mulch, bed maintenance throughout the season, watering service for the plant beds, and then the fall cleanup with spring fertilizing and fall fertilizing, as well as weed prevention and picking. So that's the scope of, and he's broken out each one of those areas, what that cost is.
What are the council's wishes?
I read the contract earlier. I don't recall. Is one of the items that they're doing is also planting either flowers or something in the boxes besides the mulch and cleaning up the boxes
Yeah,
and weeding?
he's
I did
gonna
not-
plant beds, clean up, hand weed. There was a section on potential purchase depending on if something had to be replaced. But normally they're just cleaning it up, weeding it and watering what's there. I think last year we had to replace some. So I don't anticipate we're gonna have a lot to replace this year, given we didn't have such a rough winter, but
I think last year, I believe the redevelopment commission paid
Yeah.
for plantings. I don't know if those were perennials or annuals, though. I guess I just want to be clear that we're going to end up with some type of flora and fauna in there, not just mulch beds
Yeah.
that don't have weeds.
if we have to do additional plantings, I'll ask Tony if that's gonna be stuff.
This contract is just for the bump outs, not for the flower planters.
Not for the planters.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, thanks, Bud.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Oh, was that Bob? I know Bob wasn't here today, and I'm surprised. Okay, all right. Bill, what do you want to do?
I think, and since we're faced with a short window of time, I think that we probably ought to go ahead and approve this.
Do you want to do it? You know, take the 5% discount? Let's put it this way. Is there a motion to take the 5% discount?
I move that we take the 5% discount.
Second.
Motion is made and second that we take seller's recommendation on the bid on a 5% discount in the amount of $4,439.38. Motion is made by Bill Clevenger, second by Bill Ham. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
That was in it.
I talked to you guys about the fact that we have a lot of bricks and we have had a couple of people interested in purchasing bricks. So did a little homework, found pricing for bricks, individual bricks, lots of bricks, by the square foot. And in the meantime, I had reached out to some of my colleagues on the Marshall County Crossroads team to see if they had sold bricks or other material similar to it. And in that conversation I had with Sean Cerisi and Clement, if we have something valued at less than $5,000, we can negotiate with people to come to an agreement on a price. And given that the low end I found for brick purchase would be 42 cents a piece at Lowe's versus a high-end brick of $2. As I noted in my town manager report, we would need a solid 10,000 bricks or more to be over the 5,000 mark. So I feel like if we're working with the two potential purchasers who want to buy a pile of this, if they're under 10,000 bricks, and if we were going at like, say, 50 cents a brick, I thought I would just ask you to authorize Bob and I to come to an agreement with those purchasers. Because I do believe we would meet the statute requirement for being under 5,000.
And the request is for a bulk purchase, not one brick I put on my mantle as a memorial type of thing. No.
Right.
Okay.
It's for projects.
Yeah, these bricks are not nice and stacked. They're piled with dirt, mud, everything.
Yeah.
Jenny, I actually looked up the street, but I was in the vicinity, they said from 60 cents to $1. So I think what you're talking about is probably.
I would make a motion that
Nicely stacked on a pallet.
make a motion that based upon the fact that the total value of these bricks is less than $5,000, that we permit the town manager to negotiate the sale of the bricks at the market rate between 50 cents and $1 per purchase.
Motion made by Rich, is there a second?
Think discussion on that.
I'll need a second first.
Okay.
Seconded by Sally, discussion?
Well, the only thing that I see is that, maybe we want to set a maximum as to the number of bricks that we're going to sell. Because we did state the fact that they have value if we needed them to do something else. And rather than deplete the pile of 10,000, I think that I would feel more comfortable if we had a maximum amount of bricks that we're going to offer for sale.
So you want set aside for the town?
Mhm.
You want some set aside for the town for
Yeah.
repairs?
I would consider that a friendly amendment to my motion. If Bob wants, should we get a recommendation from Bob on how many bricks we should reserve? 200, 400?
I don't think we actually know how many bricks are out there. That's the problem.
Right, I think we could just determine that we only sell up to what Bob's comfortable selling.
Right.
All right, yes, okay.
So I'll amend my motion to reflect that. So that the, since the value of the total number of bricks is under $5,000, I would motion that we approve the utility superintendent and town manager to negotiate sale of these bricks at a value of between 50 cents and $1 based upon the number of bricks in the bulk purchase with a reserve that the utility superintendent is comfortable with.
This was made by Rich, seconded by Bill, by Sally. Further discussion?
How about if you don't get 50 cents? Pallet, they're in a big pile, they're dirty. Can you authorize Bob to negotiate something then? You said minimum 50. And those are bricks that usually are on a pallet, right? Don't you think, Sally?
Well,
Yeah,
And what they said was between 60 cents and $1.10.
and they're clean, stacked.
They were stacked. I don't know whether they were clean,
Usually,
but you know.
I'll amend it to 25 cents. It's costing us more than that to talk
Yeah.
about here.
I know.
I've already spent talking
It's
about
like,
it.
you know,
I mean, they're not
And
stacked. they're
and
not
Judy spent a lot of time on this. There's little value in these things.
Yeah.
Let's just authorize the town
Let's get
manager
rid of
and
them.
utility superintendent to get rid of them and keep a reserve that they're comfortable with.
Motion's been made and seconded to,
I'm not sure I'll sell it for 25 cents. So they did one time, they paid $4 for a used brick.
okay, so you're going to rescind your second.
Yep.
Which has the motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded by Bill Ham to go ahead and move the bricks and for 25 cents at the discretion of Bob Porter and the town manager. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-1.
Okay, State Road 10 sidewalks in West Jefferson Street. We are seeing the punch list get done. Hoping to be able to close this out in the near future. I'm sure Bob is as well. Lake Max Phase 2, work on that trail along Plymouth Street. As you know, we've had to close the road temporarily at times to work on that. I fielded a handful of calls about various issues, so we're just kind of project managing that. After today, I value greatly Bob Porter, so just to say. But that's coming along and we're sort of on target with that schedule. Lake Max Phase 3, as you know, we have the public input session, so that is that information's been turned over to Mike Reese, and that will continue to go through environmental review. I will also need to go before the county to get permission for right-of-way on Sycamore Street. And technically that little tiny piece on Academy Road. They were waiting for me to get the easement agreement with Culver Academies, and as you know, I'm waiting on a legal description for that. So we'll take care of that as soon as possible. I like to get to the next commissioner meeting, but it might be the following, depending on when I get that. Slate and Jefferson Trail is keeping on the same schedule as phase 3. And technically that's a sidewalk project, so I should probably change the title of that from trail to sidewalk. So the water project proposal from Midwestern, that's following the same line. We're still waiting on the easement to get worked out, which is dependent on that legal description. Proposal for the Peerless well. When I updated you last, I told you I was waiting to get a meeting with Burke Richardson or Al Collins and Wade McGee. When I sent you the town manager report, we did not have that worked out yet. Al has since contacted me and we are meeting next week. Worked out. The issue there is that they've been designed and pre-design of that development and figuring out water runoff and want to make sure that it's not going to affect that easement. The alley behind Ohio Street, as you know from the last meeting, we need to do some work. I will reach out to Jeanette and talk to her about what she would like us to do, whether it's a title search or figuring out when that alley was established. That's just something I have not touched in the last 2 weeks, but digester blower. Bob's been meeting with Karen about the cost for that and potentially other related expenses and projects that he'd like to get taken care of. So we'll get back to you. We're just debating how to fund the purchase of that and if we want to put it with anything else. And we really need to take a close look at what's in those, the sewer fund to be able to do that. VS engineering proposal, you know, we got the community crossing grant, but this was the one that did not get funded. So we will work on applying for that in round 2 in the fall. Park Crossroads Stellar project. This is going out to bid soon, and we have a pre-bid meeting set up for June 1st that Shannon McLeod set up with us. That's where potential bidders would ask questions that they might have. So that's coming along. We've already had some discussion about the beach lodge and the vendor working on that. You guys approved of the railing bid, and we're going to try to get him to start that drainage project, and that railing will get done ASAP. And that railing is on the East Pavilion, by the way, which is right over here. Skipping past 415, because you just took care of that, to comprehensive plan. MACOG met with the leadership team on April 28th. We talked about at that meeting how to communicate to the public what's going to be going on with comp planning. Talked about branding the plan, potential logos for that plan. They have put together some different ideas for that to go over with the leadership team. That'll be this Thursday. So hopefully we'll be able to present to council what the leadership group would like to do there. With comp planning, you really want to communicate as often as possible with the community, and putting a logo and brand to it is a great way to start that. So MACOG will be back again, like I said, Thursday, and then they're also going to meet with the Crossroads Culvert team, which meets the last Thursday of the month. So they'll come back to that as well. Community Crossings Grant, you guys approved the resolution to have Bob authorize payments. I'm digging into the documents that we have to take care of in the next 60 days. So there may be something on the next agenda related to that. And then I've got special event permits. There's 2 of them for your consideration. The first one, I don't necessarily know that we need a special event permit for, but I appreciate the fact that they brought this in. It's for the golf cart poker run. The Good Neighbors of Culver sponsor this poker run, and this year it will benefit the Culver Youth Organization. There's no street closures related to this. They hang banners at each of the locations, which are private properties, private houses, for this. And you know, it's not going to affect the town staff or emergency services, but it is an event taking place that is a fundraiser. So I put it down for that.
Yeah, I would suggest we consider it as a special event permit, just to set precedent that when things like this happen, we need to have notice of it, because it's going to take place on the streets in Culver. And I think if we say this doesn't need one, then it may give license to other people that they don't need it for other types of similar activities.
All the department heads have signed off on this one, so my request is motion to approve.
Moved. Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the golf cart poker round. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Okay, the second one is September 17th. It's the annual Masonic Cemetery Walk guided tour done by the library. It is conducted from about 1 to 4:40. I put that because that includes the cleanup time. There's no street closures involved, but they would like to hang a sign on the fence here at the beach lodge to promote the walk, which does need your approval as well as approving of the event. And all the department heads have also signed off on this.
Now, we've done this in the past.
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve the library cemetery walk?
So moved. Second.
Motion made and seconded.
Point, discussion, just time limiting on the sign. I mean, this is taking place in September.
What we did last year was we put it up right after Labor Day
Right,
and took it down.
which is fine. I just, I would like to, we have some parameters set in the
It's a
motion.
2-week, it's a 2-week.
Right.
Yeah, the park
Timeline.
has a guideline for that, I believe.
Yeah, we have a timeline, guideline.
Okay, thank you.
Motion made and seconded to approve the cemetery walk, library cemetery walk. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I will let Aaron know about in 2 weeks.
I'll tell, yeah, I'll let them.
Broadband Task Force, I talked with Jim today and he's approved my edits of the RFP, so I'm going to publish that tonight before I go to bed. I got it done. And that'll have a 45-day response time. So that will be the only thing I change on it, because I think the dates I had on it were probably a couple weeks behind.
Basically the 1st of July or something, a little bit before the 1st of July.
Yeah, it's right around then.
Okay.
On that,
Bill?
on that one, I have another suggestion. I talked about price point to the end user, and it occurred to me that they could always jack it up later. And there is something called a price index of internet suppliers. And if we can tie in with that somehow, so that they don't go crazy with increases and say, okay, it's linked to this price index of the industry. And you can find it, just Google it. And it's, I think it would be prudent.
Jim, is that something that when we pick a provider, we would do that through the contract with the provider?
Yeah, but that might have some bearing on what they might bid.
So I should request that their price, because we have that end user section in the RFP,
Put
but
that in.
I don't have anything about how that needs to be tied to the index. I can take a look at that language and
Yeah. I don't know whether it brought.
because basically the RFP just says, we want exactly what you are going to put together for the end user. And part of our criteria for judging the RFP, it is, what are you offering the end user as in our resident and our businesses? So if I were requiring them to give us that information, but
So you could maybe just add including a price index or for future
okay,
years.
Yeah, as long as we get fairly,
So they're thinking about it.
yeah.
Right.
I mean, if you ask me, I could work up an algorithm or something.
I
Oh,
assume
what?
too that we want that in the contract agreement.
Yeah, we definitely in the contract, but I just think
User, we go through a separate
Yeah.
contract agreement.
And certainly we can put it in the contract. It's just, it seems like it'd be fair to make sure that everybody knows that
We're
that's
gonna
something
be
there
looking at
yeah,
that for
would be an
criteria.
addition.
Okay. I might go ahead.
Judy?
Just quickly, are we talking about the Lake Fest special event permit tonight, or is that?
We can if you.
Okay, I was in the
I still
impression
have it
that.
listed as unapproved, but we can certainly,
Okay.
yeah, I'll come back to it if you guys are here for it. I'll write up some language before I publish it, and I will run it by the two of you.
Where do you,
Because Jim was already authorized to approve the final edits.
where do you plan to publish this, Jenny?
I'm gonna send it to the service providers, put it out on a website, and I'll put it on TGL. I will probably also do something in the newspaper, but I'm sending it directly to any provider we had any kind of communication with as well.
I would recommend you put at least a blib in the paper.
Right, it's just with the publication change in the Citizen, and I'm sure go in, should
Yeah,
we
the
put it in the South
pilot.
Bend Tribune? Should we put it in the Pilot? Should we put it someplace else besides just the Citizen, I guess? I think just to make sure that we get a broadband response to this.
You have a list of,
Yeah.
you have a list already, several, right?
Yeah, I could do even the Indianapolis paper too, if you want. But I do have a quite a long list of providers that we've met with, had contact with, that I'm expecting to respond to the RFP. Some national, some local. So I'm sure we're gonna get response. But I certainly can put it in the papers, whichever ones you want.
I just, I think it's such an important issue that I want to make sure that and I know you've got a list of all the providers that have expressed interest or we've had discussions with. But I just think it is an important issue that we make sure that we get as wide a response to as possible, or that the audience, and I don't know that necessarily has to go to Indianapolis, and I'm not sure what the right communication vehicle is.
But I think when we do the ad, whichever paper and however we do it, we want it to link to the website, but also hard copies if someone wants to pick up hard copy. And I'm also gonna give my email and contact information because I'm willing to email it, obviously, as a PDF file. I do need you guys to authorize me to spend the money on it. If we're doing more than pilot, South Bend Tribune,
Indianapolis Star.
okay, those three maybe.
Fine.
That's a beautiful kid.
Disagree, but I mean, there'll be a broad cross section. I mean, you don't want to put it in the Sun Times, true.
Okay. I will let you know what the cost of that is at the next meeting. Have you-
Yeah, we gotta get it out.
Yes, I would like to do that very much. The Marshall County Crossroads team. As you know, they hired Clerk to work on the Readi Grant process. They have met with the regional planning team. They're now meeting with individual communities to get an idea of what potential projects are there. And I meet with them on Thursday of this week. Blue zones, no change in that current status and no change in the Tamarack Road project or housing development there. So I would like to return, it sounds like I've got Lake Fest under your special event permits, knowing we were still having to approve that. And Andrea looks like she's here, so come on up, Andrea.
Hello.
Oh,
Hello.
I don't know where to stand, but just figured it might be easier. I'm gonna read off my phone if that's okay. My notes here. So as you know, Lake Fest is on July 15th, 16th, and 17th this year. And if you don't know, now you know. we have implemented a new mission for the Culver Lake Fest as a nonprofit, which is the Culver Lake Fest team is an all-volunteer nonprofit group committed to giving back to the Culver community by raising funds to plan and host a weekend of family-friendly activities and entertainment, and by offering opportunities for community groups, civic organizations, and businesses to raise funds to help them achieve their goals. So this year we've engaged multiple groups from the Culver community, some of which we're really excited about, like the football team. Pregnant, it's hard to breathe. The football team will be receiving a donation from Lake Fest in return for tackling the trash detail and keeping the festival clean throughout the weekend. The volleyball team, who will provide transportation via Uber carts / golf carts in return for donations from passengers. And Lake Fest covers the cost of the 2 6-seaters for those golf carts for fundraising. The boys basketball team is bringing back the 3-on-3 tournament. The girls basketball team will be conducting a hot dog eating contest. And the Bass Fishing Club will be bringing back the Bass Fishing Tournament. All proceeds for each event will support that club or team. So those are just some exciting things going on with Lake Fest that, it's outlined in your, in the permit that I had filled out, but just to highlight a few of those things. Our theme this year is Art is in the Air. So in accordance with our theme, we'll be implementing pop-up artists and entertainment throughout the festival weekend that celebrate all forms of art, including musicians, painters, and even a magician. We'll also be unveiling the storm drain mural on Lakeshore during the weekend, which will be coordinated by the Lake Max Environmental Fund. While considering approving this year's Lake Fest, I did want to draw attention to a few things. We are requesting 2 signs promoting Lake Fest to be hung, one on the entrance right before you enter town on that fence, and then the other one would be at the town park. On Friday night, pending Wayne Bean's approval, we'll be hosting a beer garden from 7 to 9:30 p.m. The fencing for the beer garden will be provided by the town park if approved. I've had several meetings with Wayne and with the providers for the beer garden who are licensed, and they actually also did the beer garden for Winterfest. But yeah, I wanted to keep the time frame just to Friday night, as it is supposed to be a family-friendly festival. So adding that new event in there is something that we've been kind of looking into ourselves and thought it might be fun to have something for the adults to enjoy. At around 10:15 Friday night, the committee will be posting temporary no parking signs provided by the police department ahead of the parade the next morning, which starts at 10. The no parking signs will be removed following the parade on Saturday, approximately at 11 or a little after. Saturday during the parade, the committee is requesting barricades from the town for the temporary road closures. During the parade, those barricades will go up at approximately 9 as the parade starts at 10. And I attached like where the parade route is and where those barricades will go. But speaking of the parade route, it was challenged by businesses on Main Street. After we issued our first notice for the parade route, I delivered a notice to each of the businesses that are along the parade route. And I only received one email back, but that person had received feedback from other business owners, so she was able to bring that to my attention as well. After which the committee met with the business owner and Wayne Bean, and we were able to come to a compromise. So the parade route will be slightly moved from what's on the special event permit, and it'll begin on Main and Jefferson instead of Main and Madison. So just one block down. Okay. The committee is also requesting barricades for the entrance and exit to the park throughout the festival weekend. And we submitted our permit to the DNR for fireworks on Saturday night, which will begin at approximately 10 p.m. And then the Bass Fishing Club for the fishing tournament will be submitting their permit or they may have already, to the DNR for their tournament as well. So those were just a few things I wanted to highlight.
I think what you guys need to make two key decisions related to Lake Fest. One is, will you allow a beer garden in the park? Because as you know, we have an ordinance that doesn't allow alcohol in the park. So that's one decision. The second one would be to approve this special event permit pending Wayne's approval of the alcohol permit that's associated with them being able to do that. Because not quite done yet, but you can approve it pending his approval. Does that make sense?
And also the change in the parade route.
You're essentially approving the whole plan,
Okay.
and she's just giving you the updates to that plan. So
Yes. Did you have questions about the parade route or?
Anyone have a question?
I move that we approve the special event permit request for Lake Fest contingent upon Marshall Bean approving the Friday evening beer garden and the application as amended and presented today.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve amended Lake Fest special permit as presented by Andrea today. Any further discussion?
I had one more question. Where do they queue up for the start?
Of the parade?
Yeah.
So it'll be, instead of along Madison, it'll be along Jefferson, then down Slate. And I can email you guys actually.
Go west on Jefferson. As far as the lineup.
Is that west?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. All right. Sorry, navigational skill. But yeah, they're gonna just line up there and then down Slate. The antique cars, however, they'll still remain behind the bed and breakfast, and we'll just use a radio to call them in whenever it's their time to join the parade. But that doesn't require any like barricades or anything like to be blocked off. They'll just go out and join the parade.
I have a question. I understand this correctly. If we approve pending Wayne's approval, then basically what we're saying is that we have an ordinance with no alcohol in the park. So are we going to negate that ordinance?
say that's that's why I want you to vote on both.
And that's what I think. Vote on both.
I agree. I track my.
All right.
Start with a different motion.
I don't know how to wording on it. Pending the approval for this event by the town marshal for a beer garden in the park on Friday of Lake Fest. We would approve an exception to the ordinance that prohibits alcohol sales in the park.
That one again?
I don't understand it, so I'm not second.
Well, that's why I spoke
Right.
up.
So pending the approval of the town marshal for the beer garden on Friday of Lake Fest in the park,
Okay,
that we make an exception to the ordinance that prohibits alcohol sales in the park for this one-time event.
okay. Is there a second to that?
Not sure I'm clear on it, so I'm not second.
Well, I think what he's saying is,
Want to reword it, be my guest. I'm not sure.
I think you're better off having two motions.
Why no, this is only one motion. My motion is not to approve the Lake Fest event. My motion is to approve serving alcohol in the park pending Wayne's approval of the plan for that Friday of Lake Fest as an exception to our ordinance, which prohibits alcohol sales in the park. So it's not approving the Lake Fest event permit. It's approving the sale of alcohol for that one event as an exception to our ordinance.
Is there a second to that?
I'll second that.
Okay, so the motion, Karen, is to,
She got it.
you got it. Good, thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Okay. Now, I request that you approve the Lake Fest event occurring pending Chief Bean's approval.
Motion to make, is there a second to that?
Yes.
Motion been made by Rich, seconded by Sally to approve the Lake Fest special permit based on Wayne's approval. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Nay.
Wait, nay to Lake Fest or, wait, can I ask why? Or-
Motion carried.
What?
The motion carried
Oh,
4-1, so,
oh, I don't ask why.
well, you can ask.
Well, if I can maybe remedy it later. I can-
Well, I voted nay because I'm against alcohol in the park.
Oh, okay, but not the festival itself.
No, but the motion included
Oh, okay,
alcohol in the park.
gotcha.
So I voted nay.
That I understood. All right, I didn't know if there was something
We
about.
already said there wasn't gonna be alcohol in the park. Well,
All right, well, thanks.
Thank you for your work on this, Andrea.
Thank
And your
you,
communication.
thank you.
And that concludes my town manager report.
Question
Yes.
on the VS Engineering, which is the engineering for the section of the Crossroads project that is not taking place. We had approved a contract on that. What happens with the status of that contract?
What you guys approved was them doing the engineering for the project, so we could put it in the community crossings grant.
Okay.
We didn't end up getting the grant, but we still paid them for the work. And when we go for the second round, we'll use that same engineering.
Okay, but the original contract did not include construction management or oversight of construction? or
No,
anything like that?
just to do that.
All right, that's fine. I just
In
wondered. if we-
fact, if we had one community crossings, we would be putting that part out to bid, construction and the other.
I just wondered if we needed to do something with the contract, but it's been executed. Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
we're moving on. Department head report.
Just
EMS,
so you know, Jeff is not going to be reporting if we had nothing.
okay. Thank you. Terry?
Just one thing, our Cascade motor that burned out a month and a half ago is back in, and we're back in operation. So
Wayne, are you on for police?
Yes, I am.
You have a report, sir?
Really don't have much right now. We're still waiting on the car. It was supposed to be here a couple weeks ago, but it's still in delivery process, I guess. Other than that, I don't have anything else.
Thank you, sir. Amber?
So the one thing I did want to let you know, Develop Culver did receive the Indiana Public Art Activation Grant that we had. I know Jeannie reached out via email. That's for the mural that will go on the West Pavilion. Just the shed part, not to mess with the historical integrity of the structure. So we're working up, some designs. We'll send out, working with the artists, some designs kind of like Debbie Palmer did, and have people vote on them before we make a final decision. So just a heads up there, we're really excited about it. We're gonna get more word, but they announced, the awardees today. So excited about that. We have our staff orientation with all the park staff on Sunday. And then, hopefully all of our lifeguards will be certified. Everybody passes, but that's our last class. So just gearing up for the summer, basically.
You got a full staff for summer?
We are fully staffed. So
Good.
pending everyone passes class.
Right.
And makes through orientation. So,
Sure.
yeah,
That it?
that is all, yes.
Thank you. Bob, for utilities?
Just one quick thing. Jenny, did you bring up that quote for the Prado lift station?
No. Do you have it?
I don't. I'm at home, so I didn't bring it with me.
Hold on a second. We'll look it up. And I have it. The only one I did was for sellers, but I'm looking to see if I have it. Or Karen does.
Is this the one for the brain?
Yes.
Okay, I've got it. It's a quote from Peerless. I'm sorry, from Xylem.
Oh, didn't we do this at the last meeting?
That was for the testimony.
Oh, okay.
Xylem, it's $10,345.24. And Bob, do you want to explain what it is?
What that is the controls for the Prado lift station, which is our big one, just south of the, used to be Remax. What that does is turn the pumps on and off. It also does the alarm for high level, low level, and it's been giving us some fits. We've done all the recommendations from Xylem, and they're basically recommending that we replace that control.
$345.24.
Move to approve the purchase of the control.
Second.
Made by Bill Clevenger, seconded by Rich West to approve the controls for the station. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Can I do under Bob's one more, handrail for the Beach Lodge East Pavilion? I thought we already did this, but we did not according to my date. So, this was with Thomas Excavating and Welding. I think I just told you about it at the last meeting.
I don't think we've ever seen a figure.
Yeah, it's $1,275, and it will be basically custom built for that stairway. And it'll get attached to the concrete sidewalks. This includes the installation of it. We'll create it and install it. And that would be for Thomas Excavating and Welding for $1,275.
Motion to approve.
So moved. I'll second.
Motion made by Bill Ham, seconded by Sally to approve Thomas Excavating the construction and installation of the railing for $1,275. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Just found Bob's two quotes together. I stuck them.
Anything else, Bob?
That's all I have for you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Clerk's report.
I have three claims over $2,000 per year approval. Peerless Midwest, $2,780, that's for sewer. Contractual services, Live Oak Electric, $4,393.80, and that's for park repairs. And then Tim Uhas finished out the installation of the piers, and so that's $10,950.
Motion to approve the claims over 2,500.
So moved. Second.
Made by Bill Ham, seconded by Rich. Approve the claims over 2,500. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I had another application for the sidewalk program, and this is from, they would like to replace 56 feet, or actually install 56 feet of curb and sidewalk combination, and their total reimbursement would be $1,456. So if I could have approval of that,
This is for Papas.
yes.
There a motion to approve Papa's application for sidewalk program in the amount of $1,456.
So moved.
So,
Made by Rich, seconded by Sally. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
The final thing I have is hopefully good news for water ratepayers. However, it's not going to amount to a whole lot for individual ratepayers. The Indiana legislature approved eliminating the utility receipts tax, which is 1.46% of your water usage or your water bill. But it also means that we have to recalculate all of our water rates and then advertise to the public that this is all taking place. And this is above my pay grade. So I'm asking for you to approve an engagement letter with Baker Tilly to calculate those new rates. And it's a not to exceed $5,000.
Second.
This is made by Bill Clevenger, seconded by Sally, to approve an engagement letter to Baker Tilly, recalculate the water rates. The letter not to exceed the cost of $5,000. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
And that's all I have.
You want to talk about being out? From the 22nd to the 26th?
That's for your information.
Like we just, okay. Thank you. Attorney's report.
Just one thing, seems like the only thing I generally always report on. If you'll recall, VIP sued against the town and the fire department. The appeal time passed. There was no appeal. The plaintiffs had until May 7th to file a amended complaint. May 7th rolled around and they did not file an amended complaint, but instead the plaintiff's attorney filed a motion to withdraw and a motion to extend another 30 days to file the amended complaint, basically arguing that they had good cause because the first attorney withdrew. So they needed more time to find another attorney to file the amended complaint. Judge Palmer has not yet acted on that as of this afternoon when I checked. And I don't anticipate lawyers from either of the insurance people probably filing some kind of objection or whatever else. They'll just let the judge make a call on it. So I'll let you know if whatever happens. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Very much. Anyone online or present for utility shut off or ordinance violation? Hearing or seeing none? Citizen input. Anyone online for citizen input? If so, state your name, address, and have at it. Hearing none, is there anyone present for citizen input? Seeing none, we'll move on to council issues. Sally?
I've been.
Rich?
None.
Bill?
None.
And I have none.
Mr. President,
Yes. Yes?
this is Wayne. I got one thing I want to bring up I forgot about.
Okay, Wayne, go ahead.
On Davis Street, which runs from South Main to toward the lake. I think we need to make part of that street on the south side of the street, going east from Main Street, no parking. We had a parking issue down there a week or so ago, and nothing's marked. And you can't park on both sides of the street.
Okay.
I think we're gonna have that problem with some other streets when this project gets done also.
You want to just put a list of streets together and we do it all at once?
Well, I can try.
Let's do it that way, so we just don't do it piecemeal.
Okay.
And we'll talk.
Let's pull Bob.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. We're not gonna do anything tonight. Let him put together a list and we'll discuss it. Thank you, Wayne.
I move.
You're welcome.
Second.
Motion made and second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
You notice he says I took the position. Second. I told him, I take the position.